Hey, how's it going?
Patty, it is going well. How are you?
Very good, very good. Trying to survive in this quarantine.
Crazy.
Crazy.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. I first off, I just want to say thank you so much for even agreeing because I know you're a man that's very
Ah,
behind the scenes.
pleasure's all mine. Pleasure's all mine. Please, yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me.
No
Absolutely.
problem. So definitely, Kay, finally a pleasure to speak to you somewhat face to face.
Pleasure's all mine, for sure.
Yes. And yeah, as you mentioned before, like right now I never thought in a lifetime I'd be living through something called a pandemic or coronavirus. Like, I just never thought, we watch things like this in movies, zombie apocalypse, all these things, but like, who would have thought? Like, what are your thoughts on it? Like, were you believing it at first?
Wow. I was actually expecting 2020 to be a crazy boom, like on the creative tip, right? Just like getting into I actually got into screenwriting, so I was planning on filming a feature, and then everything started to slow down. We were supposed to film it in New York City
Oh,
around this time, and New York's actually really hit bad
bad,
right
bad,
now. It's like
really
one of
bad.
the worst places,
Yeah,
yeah, to have like the most cases, I believe.
yeah, yeah.
So
It's
that's
it's crazy. Have you been um, affected at all in terms of like knowing anyone that's been affected or healthcare workers, essential frontline workers? Has that been something that's affected you?
I was actually lucky enough, like, not to have anyone infected. I guess in my circle, thank God. But yeah, like we see it every day, especially in the
Yeah,
news. It's crazy.
it is. It is. I definitely have family members that work as healthcare workers, so it's like they really love their job and they want to be there, but it's like you're like, oh, stay home. Like I want you to be safe. So it's definitely something we're all just learning day by day, right? But
Absolutely.
more importantly, like you're a legend in my eyes. Like in
Oh,
Toronto, you bring so many people. No, but literally, like you bring so many people's vision to life, and your eye is so clean. So like I respect your work on a high level,
really
and
appreciate it. I think it's all about the talent. It's all about the artists and actors, models, everyone who's involved. They just make every project so awesome. That's
is that it for you? Like, what inspired you to even embark on this like type of career? Shout outs to your partner as well. Is it Shooter or
Shutter,
Shutter?
Shutter,
Shutter.
Shutter.
Okay.
Yeah,
Shout outs to
he's
you.
awesome too. Absolutely. Well, actually, I think I'm pretty much a cinephile. Like, I just love film. Definitely. I was kind of like I grew up during the '90s, so everything was shot on 35 millimeter, 16 millimeter. It just looks gorgeous, and like films like Pulp Fiction, The
Ooh,
Professional,
love it. Love
Barton Fink. Like, those are like big influences for me.
it.
And yeah, I also love, like, I'm a big hip hop R&B fan. So kind of like to mix both things, film and music, is it's always a pleasure. That's
So you
it's pretty much what.
genuinely do enjoy the genre of, but I mean, growing up in Toronto, I try and explain because a lot of my audience is like in America, like New York, Brooklyn, and stuff like that. And it's like I try to explain to them the influence of like hip hop and rap here in Toronto, especially in that era of the '90s.
Huge.
Like it's major. It's major. So it's just like, how? What do they think is happening over here? I have no idea. I have no idea. But
Wow.
even
Yeah, like,
prior to that, like what inspired you to even get into film? Was it watching movies like Pulp Fiction and you were just trying to figure out how to get it to look this way? Like what was it?
actually, it's just I guess storytelling. Like we all have a story to tell, like expression. And sometimes when you choose the right lens, everything just looks larger than life, and that's what I get high off. Like, you know what I mean? Pretty much that, just capturing people as they are on like through like a beautiful wide angle lens. I just kind of like love that look.
You can even see how passionate you are like about your
Really
craft,
appreciate
like
it.
to the biggest. Like you're just beaming as you're even like explaining this. And a lot of times, do you ever find yourself picking and choosing who you say yes to, who you say no to in terms of working? Or are you just kind of like, if you can afford me, I'll do the work and come up with the best that I can do? Like, what's your point of view on that?
Very good question. I definitely believe that, like, I guess, like, if it's right away, like
Oh no,
it'll
we're
be hard
frozen.
for me to get into the project. So
Yeah.
I might say that maybe it's not really for me, or it's not really my style, and then move on.
Yeah. What is your like, if you don't mind sharing, as much as you're open to sharing, like what is your process like in terms of, okay, a person says, "Hey Fatty, I have this music video I'd like to come out with." Do they give you their vision, or do you kind of just say, "Let me sit with it and see what I come up with"? Like what is your process like?
Usually I would ask them to send me the track they have in mind, like the single, and I would listen to it a few times, and then kind of like hit them with like a quick treatment, like a quick concept, and yeah, and we kind of go from there. So we start planning, I would actually I would put together a treatment, send them like a nice PDF file with like image references and so on. They look at it. If they like it, we go into production. If they feel like maybe they want to have a different approach, then we kind of like revise the treatment, switch it over, kind of go with their ideas a little bit, and then I'll put in my little flavor in there as
Your
well.
little your sauce, your fatty sauce. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. And then we kind of like look into the production, like we're going to start looking at what we need, like let's say locations, rentals, like let's say we need a specific location that's maybe like a warehouse, props. Do we need fake blood? Do we need weapons, props, like all those sorts of little
Yeah.
things just to spice up the visual.
Yeah.
And
And are you, yeah. No,
sorry,
you
go on. Yeah.
continue. You continue.
Yeah, for sure. And then we kind of put everything together, like how many actors we need, if do we need to go through an acting agency and models, all that good stuff. We put together a budget, and from there, like the artist would let me know, like do they want to proceed with that, or do we go with a different concept, a little bit more under budget or so.
Yeah. That's fair enough. And I mean like just like I feel like to be in the room with you and Shutter is probably such a magical experience when
Uh,
you guys are brainstorming
really
or,
appreciate it.
in the editing room, in the lab and just coming up with your finished products, because every time I see you post a new video, I don't get that feeling of, oh, this video looks like that video or it looks the same, I definitely get unique authenticity. I do, now that you said the wide angle, I'm like, makes a
Uh,
lot of sense because I
appreciate
do
you.
get that from your work. And I just love if I obviously cannot know your terms as well as you, but like, just for sake, I'll say filters.
Oh, the
I
filters, yeah.
never,
It's
I love the filters that you use. They're absolutely like,
I really
do you,
appreciate it. It's
do
it,
you use, yeah,
I'm sorry.
do you make your own custom? I know that's a bit nerdy, but do you make your own custom like filters,
Filters.
or is it like what kind of programs, if you don't mind?
Oh, it actually starts with like filters that you put on the lens. I actually like to soften my images a little bit to kind of bring back that 90s, 80s look a little bit, because these days cameras are very sharp. Like we have all
Very
these
sharp. It looks too realistic.
absolutely, we have all these guys shooting in like 4K, 6K, 8K, and yeah, the whole nine yards. And I like to use like what we call diffusion filters, like maybe if pretty much what they do is they kind of like soften the image a little bit and create like this highlightation, and
Mm,
that's kind of like very reminiscent of the 90s. Like
yeah,
Spike Lee uses a lot of those filters if you
yeah.
watch some of his
Right. Yep, for
earlier
sure,
films.
for
Yeah,
sure, for sure, for sure. I'm a
absolutely.
big Spike Lee fan. Yeah.
Amazing. Oh,
So
same here.
let's get into that list. Like, what is your who's on your influencer list? Like, who are these? Whether you know them personally or not, like, who are some of your mentors that
Wow.
inspire you or your team? I know you mentioned Tarantino. I know you
Yeah,
mentioned Spike Lee, which obviously are
yeah,
goats
for sure.
and
They're
godfathers in
incredible.
this. Like, who else would you put on that list?
From Toronto, from Canada, Kid Studio. I friggin' love their stuff. Like Wow. I like that they're so creative. Got love everything they do from their commercial work to music videos, shorts. Like they do like a few campaigns here and there. It's amazing.
Yeah,
Definitely the biggest influence. Um,
yeah.
who else? Another very, very talented DP. He's from Montreal, I believe. His name is Christoph Brandel. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
No, I haven't,
From
but I've heard a lot. There's a hub of creatives in Montreal that like people haven't quite tapped into, but I've heard like there's a whole community of like creatives out there.
Absolutely, they're incredibly talented.
Um,
Just wow, like for sure.
Yep.
And especially Kids Studio, they're like my biggest influence. I don't know them personally, but I follow them on Instagram and
So what are
platforms.
some of the things that they possibly do that you would say inspires you or gets you like, oh, this is like that's dope. What are some of the things that they do?
They create this like apocalyptic world.
Mm.
Like if you watch like a good example is The Weekend Reminder, one of my favorite music
Yes,
videos. It's just they
yes.
they found a way to like light up. I'm sure it's in post production if I'm correct, but they found a way to like light up the Hollywood sign on the hills on fire. That was just incredible. It's like the little cameo scenes. Everyone just looks like they're enjoying every moment, every frame. So that's pretty awesome.
And is that something just as someone that does this, you know how much work or what maybe like files or things he has to go through in that program or editing program just to even get those visuals and codes to work. Yeah.
Absolutely, it's nuts. Yeah, like I know they have like usually like a big team behind them, and it's amazing how they collaborate and just give like the best final product you could think of.
So when it comes to like working with some of your clientele, I know you're forever like a busy guy. If I know
Uh, Appreciate
for
it.
sure, like without even asking, I know that you're always working, like you're always putting out work. And I myself have had to experience a lot of like videographers and photographers in the city. Um, Majority of the times, it doesn't end well. Like I feel like to a certain level, some of the people behind the camera sometimes have a reputation or are known to like run off with the money or not, follow the guidelines of editing. But when it comes to you, Fatty, you're the only like besides Jordan, who was mentioned earlier, you're the only videographer
Appreciate
in
it.
the city that I haven't heard those stories about. I haven't heard people complaining. Like I haven't heard no one said, "Oh, Fatty," like no, nothing at all. And I'm
Appreciate it.
also
Thank
one
you.
who's in Toronto, right? So what like do you even notice something like that, or like how do you separate yourself amongst others if even I don't know.
Definitely another very very good question. I actually like also consider myself like more on the more of an artist than a businessman. I guess like some of the folks kind of like run their video production or their film production like a business, right?
Mm-hmm.
As for me, like I take on a lot of passion projects, like maybe not music videos necessarily, but maybe like shorts or documentaries, and I also do music videos as well. So it's kind of like I kind of like maybe I understand where some are coming from. Like they believe in their art, and I'm kind of like the same way.
Yeah,
Definitely I could definitely connect with them on that.
that's really dope. But
But
I feel
yeah,
like
for sure.
that speaks to a lot, the fact that people don't have those stories to be like, you're professional, you're personable, you're someone great to work with, and at the end of that great experience they're having with you, they're getting an amazing product from
Oh,
you and your
appreciate it. Thank
team.
you.
So like what do you feel like you're doing different, if anything? Like I know to you you're probably just like, I'm just being me, but maybe you might say something that might just stick out and it will make sense.
Totally. I guess creating a rapport with the artist is I think it's crucial. Like everything has to click, especially
He
like
is way too humble.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like everything has to click because it's like let's say especially like with artists with a team or whatever like you'll end up spending like maybe 8 to 12 hours on set so you want to make sure everything is smooth so you kind of want to have conversations like before the shoot when a treatment is sent, like before any money's exchanged, any business is done, right? So just
Do you find that you're initiating these conversations with your client, or are they having to like find you to have these conversations?
very good question. I guess when I started out, like I was definitely trying to reach out to as many folks as possible, and some people find me, but I still like to reach out to people and just to tell them like that they're doing great work and they're inspiring me too. Like we need a soundtrack, right?
Yeah.
Especially to life, and so some of these artists in the city, like they're creating like incredible like next level stuff. So it's like it's a pleasure for me to reach out and just tell them like, look, I just added your song on my playlist. It's amazing. Like we have to work sometimes in the future, for sure.
That does speak volumes. And look, middle to LA says, I need him on my son's rap. Rap, they're great. So there you go. If you don't hit up Patty,
I appreciate
let you
it for
take it
sure.
from there. Right? Um, I'm gonna ask you. I don't know anything. I'm from the city.
For sure.
There's certain people's names that are just solidified when it comes to this film video director game.
Totally.
Little X, or as people might call him now, Director X. Um, I can remember even as a young child, hearing in Toronto, he's shooting the music video for Light Glue, and you're having people
That
like
was a
Baby K, and you know, if I have any real
legendary.
Toronto veterans in here, they'll know the names that I'm saying right now and how important those moments were and what nostalgia it brings even now. Like, what do those moments mean to you and being a part of this lineage now, coming from the city?
Those were like some legendary times, like especially the Much
Legendary.
Music times. Guys like
Oh, much.
Director X, RT, like they used to produce like phenomenal like content, especially at the time they were shooting on film. They had like the big budgets. Even today they have big budgets as well.
Oh,
But I mean, like just back in the days, like how we used to watch it on TV, it was incredible. Um, Director X, I really like. I really enjoyed like all the stuff we did with Sean Paul. Like it's just incredible. Like
that was just my first introduction that I can remember as far back, like
for
in
sure.
my
Give
age.
give me the
Like,
light. Give me the
oh,
light was like a big like I know it was. It's just the choreography was just insane. I remember watching it for the first time, and obviously the classic "Get Busy,"
oh,
the basement parties, like that was
stop banging on the
phenomenal.
diaphragms. Oh,
Classic,
legendary, legendary,
classic. And
legendary.
and it was just shot in the cold because probably Sean Paul, he's not used to that kind of weather. If you're really thinking thinking about it, like they brought him like to the cold, and just like I think the first few frames of the music video was
Even
just
the
was just
scene where
epic.
the girl
Yeah,
has on the golf hat and they had the
epic,
the temperature. Oh, the fact I don't have to see it and I can tell you, I can see it as I'm talking to you. Like legendary,
epic.
legendary.
Another one I remember like really that kind of like that was pretty legendary. Money Jane, Cardinal, and Sean
Oh,
Paul, and
oh my
Julie Black. That was
gosh.
just incredible, incredible. That blue, well, kind of like the
He
blue
had the,
lighting.
yeah, it was
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a
yeah, for sure.
hazy. Oh. And when you had those glasses on that kind of had, I think, the blue tint, it would even like play with that. I know exactly what you're speaking of. It was
Absolutely,
Cardinal's videos. I always felt like they had a little bit of like a Buster Rhymes kind of
totally.
feel to it, though.
And we
Am
could
I
see
off
the
in saying that?
for sure. Not at all. We could see the Hype Williams influence actually,
Yeah,
and of course, like Director X, I believe he was interning for Hype Williams initially. That's how he started. So
yeah.
that's very interesting to see the growth, and now he's like a super legend. Yeah, he had like a film recently, Superfly. It was a remake of
Oh yeah.
Superfly.
Did
Yeah, that
you watch
was.
it?
I didn't get a chance to see it yet, but it's on my
Okay.
list, definitely.
I did. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like, and it being his first, I was like, this is a great step in the right direction.
I believe he actually had another film. It was an independent joint about hockey. Director X. It's another one on my list. I don't
Yeah.
remember the name, but I'll definitely check it out. That I think Superfly is his second feature, if I'm correct. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I
Mm.
okay. I knew of the Superfly, but not the first one that you mentioned.
So yeah, it's kind of like, I guess the indie stuff. It's always like I guess you have to be like you have to go to the film festivals to catch all the good stuff for sure.
But classic moments like that, do you see your work and you and Shutter's work, like, do you see that entering those conversations down the road? Because I mean, your guys' playing field of like, or spectrum, I should say, of people you work with. You know, a lot of those people have turned to spiral into, you have your Cretia Turners. You guys are out there working, and
Oh
then
wow, totally, totally. We shot a music video with an artist from New York, Keiko O'Neill, featuring Cretia Turner.
okay,
2 years ago, I believe, in Miami. Fun times, amazing. She's an amazing artist. Yeah,
yep,
absolutely,
Toronto.
definitely,
Yeah,
definitely,
yeah.
for sure.
But even okay, working crossing the border, and you're working with artists like Riff Raff or Mano, Fatty, you're a white guy going to New York with with Riff Raff and Mano. I'm gonna ask you straight, like, you're not terrified. What gives you such confidence to be around, like, you know?
Wow. Honestly, they're all great people. Thanks to them, like they're always watching my back. It's the artist. Like usually, we did go through some questionable places, like especially in New York.
Yeah.
Actually, recently we shot a music video for an artist from Buffalo, New York. Called his name is Ballistic Man, and it's featuring
Okay,
Nems.
that's familiar.
Nems is from Coney Island, and we went through some interesting places in Coney Island. It was yeah, it was pretty intense,
But like,
but
I want the side, or as much as you can say, like the side from the videographer. Like, what is that like for you when an artist or someone is like, meet me here, or we're going through here. You're just seeing where you're pulling through, and you're like, all right, this
it's
is.
it is dangerous. I we
I'm
highly
not
rec
laughing at you saying it's dangerous. It's just the way you said it, like on some Anchorman, like Will Ferrell, like it is dangerous.
it
Like,
is dangerous. Like we have to do our homework. So guys out there, we have to do our homework. Try to research Google, Street View. Like your
Street
address
view is
is just
very important.
yeah, yeah. Like I guess like I find we're always lucky. Like we always have an awesome crew that kind of like watches our back. There's always like kind of like a fixer, like someone in the neighborhood that knows everyone that make sure everything is safe. So
Facts.
that's
And
important. That's
that
definitely
role
important to
is
have.
very important.
Yeah,
Very
for
important.
safety reasons. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I I appreciate your honesty. I really
Oh,
do,
for sure.
because I'm in these scenarios and I've seen a lot of these situations, but I never really get to speak to the person that's creating it all, pretty much,
Oh,
with the
totally.
help of the artist and everything like that. But in terms of the whole visual and really, you have to be the one realizing, oh, this is something that I should catch. This is something that should be in there, right? That not all the time the regular eye is going to get. So when it comes to your third eye, what is that, as corny as it sounds, but what is that experience for you? Like, what is it that you're mostly seeing, or is it like you're having a Raven moment and you're just, this is like, what is that like for you? Because I
Oh,
know a lot of filmmakers or like cinematography people, they speak on it, or having that, just different vision, almost similar to like comedians, right? When
totally.
they say you have to have a different lens, which
I
is
guess like
literally
the
you, but
I
yeah.
guess I guess the way our brain is programmed is we follow the light because they say in cinematography, right? I mean, lighting is key. So it's like the minute you get to a location, even if it's your first time, like let's say if it's a unscripted or unplanned shoot, you would always follow the light. Like you would look for light sources
Yeah.
and like windows. Sometimes in like a building, right? Like you have like little lights in the corridors or whatever, and then you kind of like start imagining what would you do with it, right? So where would you place the artist, where would you place the actor, where would you place the model, like how would you block the scene or whatever. And yeah, we follow the light. That's the best advice
Follow
I
the
was
light.
I
Bars.
was given. Yeah,
Bars. Bars. What
totally.
advice would you give to like maybe those inspiring young kids that say, I want to get into this. I want to be able to, help people's visions be unfolded. What do you say to those young people, or like, how do you feel?
Very good question. Um, maybe I was watching too many Quentin Tarantino's movies, but or interviews. But he always says that the best film school is the movie theater. So keep watching your films. Watch a lot of films, try to study them. There's a lot of film essays on YouTube where, like, let's say different YouTubers like break down a lot of like very influential films. I would definitely highly recommend to look into that, and you'll start catching on very fast. So
Similar to the hip hop game is like you. Well,
absolutely,
this is all a part of the culture, but you have to study. You have to do your homework. I don't
for sure.
believe if you're really trying to be in a craft and aspire to be a name that stands out, you have to put in that 10,000, those 10,000 hours, right? You definitely have.
Yeah, yeah. but
That's like,
uh, but you know what they say, like, don't fall into the gear disease where you have to like purchase the latest gear all the time. Like sometimes it's just
get into that because I know people, it's very effective. Oh, this person has this micro, this holder. Like, what is that disease like?
it's difficult. It's like an addiction. It's like any other addiction, right? Every time something new comes out, like you have to have it because you always feel like your clients depend on it, but most of the time it's not the case. You can always rent. You can always, like, let's say, collaborate with other director of photography's camera operators, assistant camera operators, things like that. And it's all a matter of good concepts, good storytelling, and yeah, it's all about the story.
I feel like a lot of people, they also have pride, similar to even when artists are trying to collab. Where like for you yourself, you come across very humble. You don't. It's from what you just explained. You don't mind sharing the credit to be like, hey,
Oh,
we
of
worked
course
on
not.
this
Yeah.
together because you know. But some people are like that. They're like, no, I'm gonna have to buy this that because I can't. I don't want to share this and that, and they let finances and a whole list of things get in the way of just letting the art speak for itself and let that manifest and turn into something beautiful. What? Why do you feel like a lot of people succumb to that or fall to that?
Very good question. I believe it's ego. Like, let's say, like, some of the younger guys, they may experience it quite often where they would reach out to someone, and that someone would, like, let's say, treat them unfairly or kind of like disregard them. So they have that in them now. So they just want to buy their own gear or buy their own studio microphone and just never record another studio again. They'll never make them sound as good as they can. And I get it. I get it. But it's just that I firmly believe that you have to collaborate. Like, if you watch, I don't know, Martin Scorsese film, if you get to the end of the credits, you'll see how many people are involved in the project. There's like hundreds of people. That's just to show you that you can't do it all yourself. Like, everyone has a specialty, like, that they specialize in.
I like I agree and I wish even in my role in terms of being a media person, like a lot of the times I'll see other bloggers like they won't support each other or they won't you know, comment or follow all that stupid digital politics and I'm kinda just like I don't care if I like it, I like it. Like what I'm doing if you're really doing what you say you're doing, it's never gonna be duplicated. It's never gonna be exactly what that other person is doing. Everyone brings their own sauce to their craft, whatever it is. So I wish more people would have that approach and take their pride and ego out of things. You know, obviously being in Toronto, you know about the violence. You live it. We live it. Um, being a videographer and going to a lot of these artists that may be involved in these types of scenarios or things like that, or how do you deal with that, or what are your views on that, or have you ever encountered a situation where an artist would kind of said you worked with this guy and you know different situations like that, like what is your experience on that side of it then?
Yeah, it's tough out there. It's there's a
He
lot of
took a deep
there's
breath and said it's tough out there.
yeah, there's a lot of politics. You really have to do like a bit of research. Like, you can't sometimes you can't jump on the first opportunity. You have to think about your safety. You have to think about the safety of your crew, and your collaborators. So it's like, if, like, let's say, like, someone asks you to film something at a, let's say, a kind of like a neighborhood that's kind of like that has a reputation for, you know what, maybe there's a way to spin it around. Maybe there's a way to convince them to go with like another
Location.
concept or so, or location, just for safety reasons.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But like, dig a little deeper for me, because how do you really feel about that? I know you're a guy. Guys don't really like to talk about things, but I'm not asking you to say anything. But like, for me, I could say there's a lot of times where I could countless stories, countless DMs, countless conversations I've had with either artists where I felt like, oh my gosh, this song is gonna go skyrocket. I'm in love with this song. Anyone from the city, I always love to rep and
Totally.
Toronto influence, and give the opportunity to be like, whoever my network is, I just want them to know you and do it, like let it happen. And they're either get incarcerated, or they were killed, or they are just involved in some ridiculous things where you're just like, now I can't even proceed, or you're not even focused on what, like, the whole origin of what this conversation was about, you know? So it makes me sad. It makes me
Totally.
sad because I want to see a lot of these young people that I feel win, and then within sometimes now, it's gotten so bad within 3-4 months, they're no longer what they were portraying, or they're somewhere where they can't be,
Right.
right?
Right.
Or their agent or their person is hitting me up and saying, hey, right now they were incarcerated, but when they come out, like, dude, I see a lot of videographers speaking up on it, like Director X. I've seen on Six Buzz recently
For sure.
did a session speaking on it to say, like, a lot of these A&Rs and stuff, they're avoiding, coming to the city or signing on people the way they do in New York, or shit like that, because
Right.
of all these things. So how does that make you feel? Because you could be making stupid amounts of money. Let's be real, you don't do it for free. Your work is good. You get paid,
I appreciate it. Thank you.
and you have to, the fact that you have to possibly turn down, or, not saying everywhere in the world is safe, but to a certain point, it's gotten really ridiculous in the city
Totally.
pre-quarantine, right?
Totally. That's why I would always recommend for everyone to ask as much info, or to get as much detail as possible about the project and the location, and the artist as well. If you're not dealing directly with the artist, which is very common, it's through management, labels, and so on. It's always like safety first, right? Of your crew and yourself. So it's always best to get as much information in advance as possible, so everything could be planned out. And of course, that allows you to do your research. So if there's a video shoot on Jaden Finch at 9 p.m. on Friday, maybe it's best to shift it around, for safety,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah, I hear you.
something like that.
So that is definitely a great suggestion. And if you're a fellow videographer and you're listening to this, that is some advice you could take. Um, yeah, yeah. I'll let it rest there. I feel like we got the point
Also,
across.
what I can recommend is like early in the morning video shoots. Always work.
And I love that look. I love the dusk dawn look before all the pollution gets into. I'm a morning person naturally, so
Totally.
I love how the world looks at those times. Like five
Absolutely.
o'clock, I don't know. I hope the city just smartens up and they start to realize, like, it's bigger than what they think it is, and
Yeah.
everyone just wins because we have a lot of talent, a lot of talent. And even speaking to a lot of these people outside of the city, they're taking our language and they're taking our sounds, and it inspires them. So why not be able to get a passport? Like, you're messing up your life to the point where you can't even go across the border. Can you speak on how important travel is as a part of your career? And
Absolutely.
why
I
people
mean,
need to know staying on the right side of things?
absolutely. There's a lot of jobs that require, like, let's say, a specific location, a specific concept that just cannot be done in the city. I'm not saying the city is limited, because possibilities are always endless out here. But sometimes, like, when you need to go when you need to film something, I don't know, like in Joshua Tree desert,
Yeah.
you need it, right? I mean, you need it for your concept. This is where like your job is, right? So it's like it's extremely important to try to stay clean and avoid the politics, and so like this you're able to travel.
Yeah. I love
Definitely.
what you represent, Fatty. I hope
Oh,
that you
appreciate it. Thank
and like Shooter, you guys just or Shutter, my apologies. It's not any disrespect to him. I personally am not that great with I'm that person that
it's all good. Like he has a collection of nicknames. They call him Shitter. They call him Shooter. They call him.
I'll probably remember the Shooter one. I'll probably remember that. See?
That's
So,
totally fine. I really appreciate
the
it.
most respect to you guys. It's just I am one of those people, tongue twister, like I'm forever. So bear with me. I definitely we do have a staple question here that I asked at Downtown, which you've been supporting the blog and which you already know it stands for Don't Waste No Time with Negativity. And what is a recent situation that you say would you say was negative or it could have went a certain way and you chose to remain positive and not that I feel like that's hard for you, but
Oh wow. I'll sure. I'll definitely. I'll give you something interesting. So when it comes to kind of like, I guess like bigger budget projects,
yeah,
labels, they have this like, especially for music videos, and a lot of directors could, you could probably see like a lot of like different posts on Facebook or Instagram talking about it. A lot of labels and their reps and commissioners, whatever, like they play this pitching game where they have an artist, he has a song, they send the song to like 70 directors and ask them all to pitch, and they usually choose what the
yeah,
best treatment is, right?
yeah,
But is that the right way of doing things? I don't know, because just because the treatment may look, nice or exceptional, or there's like some really good ideas in there and good references, will the final product look like that,
exactly.
right? I always say it's always best for the management and artists to choose a director they want to work with. So like this, they can kind of build an interesting concept together, or just go off the director's vision. But to have like 70, 80 like young guys like pitch, and it's all hard work, right? Because they're all putting in work. They're staying up late. I don't know, until the next morning, drafting these
Yeah,
treatments, right? And it's all for nothing.
it still takes time.
It's all for nothing, and they've been doing that for the last like
Yeah.
10 years, maybe more.
What
And
is
it's
something that just off the top because we're in dialogue, what is something that you would maybe suggest that they could replace that system with, or something that you maybe sitting on the side of the fence, and I'm sure you've spoken with other videographers to say they should do this instead of what is something that you would have on that list?
the pitching game. I would love it. I would love for it to stop. I would just like if like let's say an artist or management chooses like a specific director, they should have that director pitch and just proceed with the project.
Mm-hmm.
And also music videos. I mean, these days the budgets get smaller and smaller, so it would definitely help for folks like I guess like Factor and the RBC Prism
Yeah.
grants. Like if we would have more of that, that would be amazing, and not just for artists on a label, because most of the time, if you guys notice, like the folks that get approved for grants are always on a label.
Yep.
So you have a label. Technically, they're supposed to take care of that fee for you as an artist, but what they do is they actually go into the government
Double
funds,
dip. Literally.
double dip, and that's the situation. I would like to see them approve independent artists, like with no label, no
Facts.
distribution, right? So that would help a lot instead of just
Independent media personnel as well.
absolutely. And independent media, independent. Also, like they also get recording grants as well. So independent recording artists like that would help tremendously.
Because those are the people that really need the help. Hence why they're like, if you're with a label, not saying everything is just cleared right then and there when it happens, but that's kind of as mentioned before, double dipping. Like it's not
Absolutely.
fair to maybe artists in Malvern with low income that could have possibly benefited more from the situation. So that's definitely, I agree with that suggestion a lot.
for
And I
sure.
hope
And
places
it's
like
like
Ontario Creates and things like that, they find a way to do it better,
totally,
make it more
totally,
fair. We have to get the
absolutely.
money from somewhere. You have to get the budget from somewhere. The city is expensive enough as it is already. So it's like, what do they expect you to do? You know, but in terms of being positive, that is a great way for us to moving forward and for your community as well. Personality traits that you would say that someone in your field should have or helps to have, because I'm always intrigued, not so much with the rah rah of what's going on, but more individuals like yourselves, the quiet ones, who's actually just taking it in and what's going on in the background. Like, what is going through your guys' mind half the time? Like, what are some personality traits you'd say are very good to have?
Oh, I think it's important to like try to hold a conversation, with
Yeah.
with everyone, to be extremely social, and a good sense of humor definitely helps. That's key on set because like working long hours, like sometimes we
Yeah.
have like 12, 13 hour um, shoots and so on. It's always important to like keep some good spirit,
Yeah.
keep everyone in good spirit.
Yeah, definitely.
Totally.
Is there another trait you would attribute?
Sense of humor, extremely important. Absolutely. Got
You are
got
so
got you
humble.
got to laugh it out. Totally.
I'm definitely a silly person, so I feel like I
Same
don't
here.
have
Same here.
any trouble in that regard. Uh, one more staple question that we do have here.
Sure.
We have the four elements. You have air, earth, wind, and fire. Which element would you say represents you the most and why?
Fire, because Scorpion is my favorite Mortal Kombat character.
Okay, now we're getting to the shits. Okay.
I hope that wasn't too cocky. It's just I don't
No,
know.
not at all. Are you saying you know how to use Scorpion properly? Because I fucks with some Mortal Kombat.
Scorpion is the best all around character. Sub Zero is my number two, but Scorpion
Which Sub
all the way.
Zero? The blue one or the black one?
I like Kuai Liang, right? The
Okay.
the 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 second one, the good
Okay.
guy, the good guy.
I'm hey, it's quarantine. We're in the house. Like, what else are you supposed to do?
Right. I'm not much of a gamer. Like, I don't have the patience for
You
it.
don't
Like,
have the time. You don't have
yeah, it's
the
I like every time I lose, I would just give up too easily. So it's but Mortal Kombat, it's kind of like we all grew up on that, right? So it's like it's important to play and
So in
follow
terms
it.
of
Yeah,
like
for sure.
moving forward and for your collective with Shooter and my apologies with Shutter, what do you guys like? As much as you can share, what is the vision for you guys? Where do you see yourself going? Are you trying to get those big pictures, movies? What is that vision like for you guys right now?
Yeah, totally. This year we're actually we're definitely focused on screenwriting, and we definitely want to go into like into making like some feature films. Where we're trying to like kind of like network and establish a good a good connection with a couple of actors out there, just so we can build off that. And the minute this quarantine is lifted, hopefully very soon, we'll start going into production, and hopefully we'll be able to find some good funding for all these projects.
I believe in you guys, and
I really appreciate it. Thank
I
you.
feel like the
Thank
more
you.
you guys just stay persistent, it will work out. I'm always open to being an extra.
Oh, absolutely. Perfect. We know who
um,
to contact.
So on my personal account, I've been having a game night with my co-host Alexis on Thursday nights, and
Good.
let's just say it's been quite fun. It's been getting quite spicy. I will ask you one question from there, and I'll let you go.
Sure.
Um, I just love to see what people have to say for this one. We play Would You Rather is one of the games, and I will ask you: Would you rather cut off both of your thumbs or a baby's foot?
Wow, that's a good one. Kind of reminds me of the Quentin Tarantino segment of Four Rooms where they cut off the finger.
You just have to make a choice. You have to.
Wow, wow. I guess I'll go with the baby. I don't know the baby.
Hey, 90% of people that answer this question when I ask do say that baby. So you are not the first. They're like, I don't know the
That's a
baby.
tough one.
Well, Fatty, I want to say thank you so much for agreeing to just take time out of your day and have this conversation with me. Um, Thank you for your support, and
The
I
pleasure's all mine.
appreciate being able to like see the people that you work with, because a lot of the times I learned artists through you.
Oh,
So
wow.
I don't know, you know, I'm letting you know that's how you help to service me and to help to keep me on my toes and help to know what's going on in the city or people. I feel like when they have your stamp of approval, then I'm like, okay, well,
Oh,
Fatty
wow.
said
Really
that.
appreciate it. It means a lot. Thank you.
Literally.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me and taking the time to have me, of course, as a guest.
No problem. Like, I'm always open to having a conversation. So I hope you and your family and your loved ones definitely stay safe inside. Like, don't, get too
Don't be
crazy.
foolish.
Yeah, don't be foolish. Like, it's not time
Totally.
to go outside yet. Are
Amen
you
to
are
that.
you going to be recording? Like, do you feel soon? Like, how are you gonna go about this with COVID, like moving forward?
For safety reasons, the plan is actually to wait until the quarantine is lifted, until the shutdown is lifted. I'm just waiting for Ford to announce it, I guess.
That, yeah.
Of course, yeah, we still have to kind of like practice social distancing because yeah, there's still no cure for it, right? So we all have to
No,
be
there is.
extremely vigilant.
Yeah, yeah. I
Absolutely. And
yeah. Well,
I hope that everyone stays safe out there and no video shoots for now.
you have to just get creative. If they are you giving? I know some people are giving the option of like if you send footage,
Yeah, there's that. Like as
it'll
we
see
all
what you can put
notice,
together.
there's a lot of like quarantine videos on YouTube, quarantine music videos filmed with smartphones. Luckily, I actually have like a few projects that I'm still working on that are pending. Like we didn't get a chance to finish editing, so I'm actually catching up to all of that right now.
Oh,
And
perfect.
yeah, and just like putting some final touches on the script. We're doing like some rewrites, so we could go into production very soon, as soon as the quarantine is lifted.
Dope, dope. Well, stay safe.
For sure.
Blessings to you, and I will appreciate to see you on the other side of this when it's
Of
safe
course,
to
yeah.
go outside.